Welcome everyone. This is not just another motivational video. This is your wake-up call. If you have ever felt stuck behind a language barrier, unseen in meetings, passed over for promotions, or trapped by your own doubt, listen closely. Today, you will learn how mastering English can become the lever that transforms your life, not by chasing luck or raw talent, but by building undeniable value. More powerful than money, more decisive than talent, what you need is strategic skill that makes you rare and necessary. I have worked with people who learn to be invisible despite talent. I also have stood where you stand, underestimating the small habits that change everything. I will give you 7 brutal rules, practical and hard, not sugar-coated for comfort. Even if your confidence is low, even if your English is basic, you can follow this plan and win. Take a breath, put away distractions, prepare to act. We begin with Rule 1. Feel this in your chest. The core idea is simple and counterintuitive. The market does not reward effort alone. It rewards skill that solves problems communicated with clarity. English is not just a language, it is a multiplier of value. When you can express ideas clearly, when you can read and produce, when you can negotiate and present, your time converts to opportunity. Think of English as the polish on the diamond you already carry. You may have raw talent, but if you cannot package it, it remains raw. Ask yourself what you want to receive from life. More respect, a promotion, the ability to travel, to be heard? Now ask whether your words open doors or close them. This is not about perfection. It is about deliberate practice, feedback, and a strategy that makes your improvement visible in 3 forms: reading, listening, and speech. The question is not, can you learn English? The question is, will you make learning your most deliberate investment for the next 90 days? Backstory, Daniel, paragraph 1. Daniel grew up in a small town where English sounded like a secret code behind glass. As a boy, he listened to radio voices and felt both envy and hunger. His mother worked 2 jobs and his father left when he was 10. School offered limited resources, and the idea of speaking in front of a crowd felt like climbing a cliff. When Daniel first tried to read an English article, his throat tightened and his face flushed. He learned to hide his hesitation with a smile and a joke. That embarrassment planted a seed that became stubborn. He promised himself that silence would no longer be the default. Backstory, Daniel, paragraph 2. In university, Daniel studied engineering, but avoided presentations. He sat at the back of classes, wrote formulas, and let others speak for grades and internships. When he finally got an interview at a multinational, a single unclear sentence about a project cost him the job. The interviewer did not know he had led a team. He returned home with a quiet rage that felt both unfair and useful. He began to study with discipline. He listened to short talks every morning, copied phrases aloud, and wrote 3 new sentences each noon. The work was boring and precise. The change was invisible at first. Backstory, Daniel, paragraph 3. Daniel sought help from many people. Miguel, an old friend, traded conversation for coffee. Aisha, a classmate, corrected his verbs without shame. Coach Ramirez taught him how to structure a speech. Sarah, a manager he admired, refused to gloss over mistakes and pushed him to present. Emma and Lucas gave honest feedback after mock interviews. These interactions were not dramatic, they were consistent. They accumulated into competence where once there was panic. The boy who hid gradually became the man who could choose when to speak. Backstory, Daniel, paragraph 4. Today, Daniel works with multinational teams. He writes reports that land, he leads client calls with calm precision, and he helps others build their English confidence. He calls his path deliberate practice armor. He still remembers that interview that stung like salt. He uses that memory not to punish himself, but to navigate with purpose. Daniel is not exceptional by birth. He built his value with repetition, patience, and structured feedback. Your story can follow the same shape. Rule 1. Stop being always available. Your time is currency and your attention signals value. This rule applies both to learning and to life. Set windows for study. Say no to random chat threads during focused practice. Value is created in uninterrupted chunks. Imagine a friend texting you while you read a complex article. You feel the skin like a drumbeat from the phone screen. You hear the ping and your brain splinters. You smell coffee but taste distraction. Replace that with 30 minutes of deep study without interruption. Turn your phone face down, close the tab that tempts you. Set a timer. Example scene dialogue. Daniel says to Sarah, "I will practice from 7 to 7:30, no interruptions." Sarah replies, "That sounds strict." Daniel replies, "I need it to be strict to make progress." Sarah says, "All right then, I will not message you during that time." Daniel says, "Thank you, I will make it count." In that short exchange, you hear the tactile click of resolve, the soft rustle of a chair as Daniel sits upright, the metallic chirp of a timer set to work. Practice in concentrated bursts and measure two things, fluency and retention. Rule 2. Master one skill before you scatter. Choose a lane. For 30 days, pick one core ability, speaking or listening or reading, and make it sacred. This is the skill that will generate leverage. If your job requires presentations, choose speaking. If you need to consume research, pick reading. Story example with dialogue and sensory detail. Miguel sits across a wooden table and slides a sheet of dialogue practice. He says, "Pick one skill." Daniel replies, "You mean I cannot do everything?" Miguel says, "You cannot be a jack of all, half present in all." Daniel says, "I will speak for 30 days." Miguel says, "Fine, start now and say the first sentence." Daniel breathes in. He feels the cool air like glass in his lungs. He tastes the dryness of nerves. He speaks, "Hello, my name is Daniel, and today I will speak about a project." Each exchange brings tactile memory, the weight of words in the mouth, the sound of consonants like small stones. Exercises for this rule include timed shadowing, 10 minutes per session daily, and recording your voice, then listening without editing. Keep a progress log and label improvements in clarity and confidence. Rule 3. Cultivate silence and presence in conversation. Speak less to be heard more. Silence is a tool that shows you are choosing your words. Practice pauses at the end of sentences. Use breathing as punctuation. Example scene with Aisha and Tom with dialogue and sensory cues. Aisha asks, "What do you think about the new proposal?" Daniel inhales the coffee steam like a small cloud and lets 2 seconds pass. He replies, "I think the proposal is solid but needs a clearer timeline." Tom says, "Why not propose a timeline?" Daniel says, "I will draft one by tomorrow." In the silence, you feel the room compress and expand. You hear the faint hum of the air conditioner. You notice the texture of a pen between fingers. Silence makes your words matter. Exercise for 30 days, pause for 2 seconds before every response, and notice how people lean in. Now pause and interact. If this has landed with you and you feel motivated, write a comment below with one word starting with value followed by the rule that touched you most. For example, value silence or value skill. Tell us which rule you will try for the next 30 days. Your comment helps others see themselves, and it helps me pick which topics to expand. If you feel invisible now, I see you. If you have tried and failed before, write the truth, no spin. Your honesty will be useful to someone else. I read every comment, and the best notes become future lessons. Return now, ready to continue, because the next rules reshape your circle and your presence. Rule 4. Build an aura of mystery by owning what you share. Oversharing cheapens value and hides competence. Curate what you reveal about your progress. Post outcomes, not drafts. In social and professional settings, present results in short, vivid statements. Many case dialogue with Coach Ramirez and Priya. Coach Ramirez says, "Show the result, not the struggle." Priya asks, "How do I do that without lying?" Coach Ramirez replies, "Be honest about effort, but showcase what changed." Priya says, "Like a before and after?" Coach Ramirez nods. Sensory descriptions layer the scene. the soft rustle of papers, the earthy smell of tea, the dry texture of a printed report. Guard some progress, reveal outcomes. The rest, and watch people move toward what seems scarce. Rule 5. Choose your circle like you choose a suit. Your environment shapes your speech. If you spend time with people who mock attempts, you will shrink. Seek peers who lift and correct. Name the people who will hold you accountable. Characters in practice include Emma, who organizes weekly mock calls, Lucas, who gives blunt feedback, Miguel, who practices small talk, Aisha, who corrects grammar gently, Tom, who helps build slides, and Sarah, who invites you to present. Scene dialogue with Emma and Lucas, 5 exchanges. Emma says, "We meet every Tuesday for mock calls." Lucas says, "I will give you the honest take." Daniel says, "I want that." Emma says, "Bring a 5-minute pitch." Lucas says, "We will stop you at 2 mistakes and make you do it again." You feel the coolness of the meeting room, the coarse weave of a sweater, the bright glare of a laptop screen. Replace weak company with deliberate accountability. Rule 6. Upgrade appearance and presence like you would upgrade a tool. Your first 5 seconds are narrative. Clean clothes, posture, and simple grooming make assumptions work in your favor. This is not vanity, it is strategy. Practical drills include standing in front of a mirror and practicing open gestures, and recording a 1-minute self-introduction wearing a shirt that fits. Dialogue with Sarah and Priya about presence. Sarah says, "Clothes matter." Priya says, "Not just clothes, posture, voice." Sarah says, "Yes, all of it combined signals competence." Priya says, "Practice and own it." Sensory notes include the textured fabric under the fingertips, the smell of a fresh shirt, the crisp sound of a clear sentence. Small changes lead to different first impressions and different outcomes. Rule 7. Stop chasing attention and start attracting it. Attraction comes from internal work, external consistency, and visible competence. Build a 3-part habit: daily practice, learning, output. Output could be a short article, a 60-second video, or a 1-page summary of a book you read in English. Example scene with Tom and Daniel, where the magnetism shift becomes obvious. Tom asks, "Why are people asking you to present more?" Daniel smiles and says, "I started posting small summaries." Tom says, "But you were shy." Daniel says, "I practiced short outputs and stopped asking permission." The room smells of late afternoon sunlight and street noise floats through an open window. People begin to come to you because you have become useful, not louder. Now, a slowed moment of tension. 1. The day of the presentation, Daniel walked into a cold room with 10 executives. He felt the floor under his shoes like a thin ice sheet, and the fluorescent lights buzzed above. His throat tightened into a dry knot. His first slide froze on the screen. For 3 seconds, his heart beat loud enough to feel in his teeth. Every sentence felt like a stone he had to swallow. He remembered the interview that had stung him years ago and thought he would fail again. Then he breathed and remembered a tiny rehearsal phrase he had practiced 100 times. He spoke it and the room adjusted like a tide. The sound of a pen scratching on paper became a rhythm he matched, and the panic narrowed into focus. That narrow moment taught him that tension can be trained into fuel. Slowed moment of tension 2. During a client call, a misunderstanding escalated and a senior asked a pointed question in rapid English. Daniel could not parse the idiom and felt his face flush. He tasted metal in his mouth and the headset seemed heavy. For a long 8 seconds he fumbled with words and then stopped. He used silence to buy time. He asked a clarifying question slowly and deliberately. The pause felt like a held breath, but it cleared the fog. The client repeated the point more simply, and Daniel answered with the structured sentence he had prepared earlier. The call ended with a polite thank you and a new task. That crisis taught him that asking for clarity is a sign of competence, not weakness. Slowed moment of tension 3. In a family gathering, an uncle joked about Daniel speaking with an accent, and the comment landed like a sting. The room smelled of fried food and loud laughter that felt like a wave washing over the insult. Daniel felt smaller, but instead of lashing out, he chose a small demonstration. He read a short poetic line aloud that everyone could hear. The cadence was calm, the words chosen. The uncle fell silent and then smiled awkwardly. The moment did not erase years of comment, but it claimed a different space. Daniel learned that dignity can be reclaimed through craft more than confrontation. Practical steps and exercises. For the first 30 days, follow this plan. Week 1, pick a core skill and schedule daily practice windows of 30 minutes. Week 2, add focused shadowing and recording 3 times a week. Week 3, begin small outputs, a 5-sentence summary posted publicly twice. Week 4, practice live short presentations to your accountability group and request 1 specific correction per session. Micro habits include reading 1 page of a professional article in English each morning, speaking aloud 1 minute while commuting, and writing 2 new sentences every evening. Track 3 metrics: weekly vocabulary retained, minutes of intentional practice, and public outputs created. Make these metrics visible. Now a community call to action. If this has resonated, comment with 1 word starting with value and the rule you commit to. Share the result you achieve after 1 week, and after 30 days, I will highlight the most honest progress notes. Your comment is not judged, it is proof of action. When you write value followed by your rule, you help someone else map a clear first move. I read and use the best comments to craft follow-up lessons. Join the group and start small now. Conclusion summary. You do not need to beg for attention. You need to invest in a skill that makes you indispensable and speak with clarity when opportunity arrives. Recap your immediate steps. Pick 1 core skill set, a schedule, build a small circle for accountability, and create weekly outputs. Start simple and be relentless. You will feel moments of doubt, but those are training rooms, not prisons. Prepare now to commit. Epilogue: 1-month reflection. After 1 month, your voice will feel different. You will notice a small, steady change in fluency and confidence. You will be able to ask for clarification without shame, and you will have produced at least 4 short outputs. Colleagues will start to notice you speak with less hesitation, and your calendar will show a new entry of practice slots. The tangible signs are there: a recorded voice that sounds clearer, a short article published, and 1 presentation in front of your accountability group. The emotional signs are safer breathing, less fear before calls, and a new belief that you can improve by design. Keep the practices daily and the metrics visible. Your circle will begin to treat you differently because you will treat yourself differently. Epilogue: 3 months reflection. At 3 months, the change becomes visible to others and structural. You will likely be invited to speak in larger meetings or to lead a portion of a project. Your written reports in English will be cleaner and require fewer edits. You will have built a portfolio of outputs that show progress for recruiters or managers. Socially, you will notice people asking your opinion more often because you can articulate it. The habit of producing short public outputs will create a feedback loop that accelerates learning. Your vocabulary will have solid clusters around your field, and you will navigate technical conversations with less friction. Emotionally, you will carry less avoidance and more choice, meaning you will opt to volunteer for tasks that showcase you instead of hiding from them. Those 3 months are the foundation upon which promotion and new opportunities can appear. Epilogue: 6 months outlook. At 6 months, the practice compounds and opportunities begin to multiply. You will have a clear record of deliberate practice and public output that demonstrates progression. You may receive an internal promotion, an external job offer, or the opportunity to speak at a conference. Your network will expand because you are present and useful in English-speaking contexts. You will be able to negotiate with clarity and present results with confidence. Importantly, you will have built a resilient habit system that lets you continue improving beyond 6 months. The emotional state will shift from anxious avoidance to strategic presence. People will start to come to you instead of you asking for permission. The tangible rewards could be higher salary, new responsibilities, and better projects. The deeper reward is dignity, the knowledge that you mastered a skill that multiplies your value and your life. Keep the practices. Micro habits of silence, deliberate practice, curated sharing, and accountability. Be the person who invests quietly and becomes impossible to ignore. If this video made sense, subscribe to follow the next steps and share it with at least one person who needs this wake-up call. Comment now with value and the rule you choose, and start the 30-day plan today. I choose value over noise. What do you choose?